Hello everyone, thanks for joining in. So we will continue for our Fieldglass integration with SAP S/4HANA Cloud. So today we are going to cover the step number 18 of the part B, which we are discussing last time. So I'll go back to a small recap. So this is the part A, which you've already covered. There are 9 preliminary steps. Then in the step part number B, we have 32 steps for service procurement in the work order. So we are going to already cover the 17 steps. Now we are in the step number 18. So step number 18 is all about the checking the invoice in S/4HANA Cloud. So I'll quickly go back to the SAP Fiori Launchpad and I will go to the supplier invoice. Okay, so we'll go to that app. Let's see. This is my S/4HANA Cloud and I will go to the app supplier invoice. So this is the place where you can search for your invoice. Yeah. So you can see this is one of the invoice for our application. So you can see this is the invoice. Invoice status is posted and the details about the invoice you can see here. So like in the general information, you can see the transaction, company code, gross invoice details. Then we have for what event actually this has been mentioned, payment, okay, unplanned delivery cost note, attachments, output. As usual, the standard invoice, how does it look like? You can go to here and you can do that, see that. And if you want to reverse, you can always reverse that. And if you want to see the journal entries, you can see the journal entries for that. So now coming back to the main invoice. Suppose I want to see the all the invoice which are approved. So there are the different statuses of the invoice, right? So you can see the part, correct, defined. So these are different statuses of the invoice. Reversed, right, correct, posted but not completed. Right. So there are so many options here you do have. Similarly, in the invoice party, you can see these are the invoice party. Okay, so like we have seen, all these are the supplier, isn't it? Wipro, Accenture, Deloitte, and these are the different supplier. Let's say I will be searching by Accenture. Click OK. Go. So I can see one invoice which is coming from Accenture. Supplier is here. Supplier is Accenture. Accenture in this case, we can see the detail about it. So for which is actually what is the purchasing document item. So all the details you can see the payment, unplanned delivery cost, note. So here you can see the attachment. So this is the invoice. You can see this is already been completed. Okay. And all the details you can see here. This is the step where exactly you can follow. And the process flow, you can see the entire process flow of a account payable for a particular invoice. Purchasing order, then it went to the invoice receipt, journal entry, then the clearing entry. So this is a typical process flow you can see in the better manner. That is all about the step number 18. So it is all about, so you can see it's a very simple process. So simply we will make it as a pass. So already we have done this. Yeah. So with this, we have completed the step number 18. So now let's go back to our main page. Now let's move on. So the next one is step number 19, that is revising a time set. It's an optional thing, but let's see how to do that. So for this, we have to have an entry in the Fieldglass. Okay, so let's see. Login Fieldglass. So this is something we need to check it out. So Fieldglass worker means you have to log in as a worker, and you have to access the time sheet, and you have to revise any time sheet. You have to do that, and it will go through an approval process, right? And you have to approve the time sheet as an approver. Then again, you have to log into the S4 HANA. Then you have to access the app. Then again, so S4 HANA Cloud, you have to log in. So again, this is the typical process. So if any changes is happening, again, entire process will be repeating. So it is very similar to the timesheet applications, which you have already seen earlier, just like submitting a timesheet and approving a timesheet, right? So very similar to this. So this is not we are going to do it, but if you want, you can always check it out. So I will just open a new window. So let me log in Fieldglass as a administrator. Yeah. So this is something you can go to the Fieldglass, and we will go to the time sheet. Anything you like to change, you can come here and you can change that. So here we can see this is not editable, but as an employee, he is logging in. Okay, so this one will just make an observation. Log in as a buyer. Login. Non-editable time sheet. So you have to log in as a worker basically. So then only you'll be able to perform this step. So nothing else. Okay. So now let's move on to the next step. So the next step is step number 20, pay the invoice in S4 HANA Cloud. So there will be another app. So that will be your post outgoing payments. Let's see that app in S/4HANA. It is interesting. Post outgoing payments. So this is the screen. Yep. So if you search by the company code, this is our company code most frequently we have used in our scenario. Let's say so this is something you can check it out. Company code. So based on the payment data, whatever the payment has been done, right? So here, this is the entry point where you'll be entering all those value, but at present we do I don't see we have a data. So let's say even if I put it will not come because we did not have any valid data, right? So if I go here, again GL account, let me put it from random. I don't think we'll be having the relevant data for this. Going to also provide a supplier name. Yeah, so obviously we don't have any relevant data for this. Otherwise, this is the applications where exactly to come for doing the paying the invoice. So you post this outgoing payment like this. Okay. So this is very simple process. You have to post to the GL account, then whatever you can see here, right? So that is all about the step number 20, right? Now let's move on to the next step. Yeah. Now let's move on to the 21. That is checking the updated the invoice status. So it is very similar. So we have already seen these are the different statuses, right? So we have to go to the okay. So this is not from S/4HANA, but these are all from your SAP Fieldglass. So SAP Fieldglass, how to check the invoice? Already we have seen that earlier, but still we will check it out. This is the invoice sections in Fieldglass, and you can see the other different statuses. Approved, approved, consolidated, paid, payment pending, pending approval, rejected. Okay, so these are the different statuses of the invoice. And accordingly, you can check out your invoice. It any changes happen. Okay, this was the simple step number 21. So now we will go to the next, which is the last step. That is closing a work order. Okay, so how to close a work order? We will see that. So we have to log in the Fieldglass as an administrator, and we have to go to the work order. So we'll be selecting a work order from existing work order. So we can see there is okay, there is a close worker option in there, but let's see work order. Close worker pop-up window. Okay, so this is a closed worker pop-up window. You can set the market as a closed. Let's see, this is the ended close worker. Actually, and it's after the worker ended. Okay, so let's see the date actually for the worker. So we can see the worker has been closed, okay, as on so and so date. Okay. So this is a typical process we have to follow. And if you want to check the same, right, log into the SAP Fiori as a purchaser, manage purchase order. So these are the different purchase orders already we have seen. So we have selected the purchase order and we're going to review the details of purchase order. There is something limit items actions. Okay. This is the limit items. So I don't see it is marked for a deletion, but if it has been, then we will be getting a status saying a mark for deletion. Okay. So with this, now we have completed this all the 22 steps. I know, so there are few steps you might be missing because of the integrations, but this is how the process is. Yeah. This was all about your integration experience of Fieldglass with S/4HANA. That was the part number B. Okay. So with this, we will close this, and in the next sessions, we will be completing the part number C, which is having again 19 steps for the service procurement. Okay. And that is for the SOW. Okay. So once it is done, then we will go to the part B. That is we'll be checking how the invoices are looking, right? So FC. Okay.